Guys like Anxiety War and Justin Payne should piss you off. What they do is go online and pretend they're little kids or teenagers, and they, I guess, say something to people or do something online that causes what they call a predator to start interacting with the imaginary kid. Then they get the predator to ask for naked pictures of the kid and get the predator to arrange a meeting place. Then they wait for the predator to show up and surprise him when instead of the kid, that fucking Anxiety War guy or that Justin Payne guy show up. See, the thing is, the imaginary kids they depict don't exist in reality. It's probably very, very rare for a pedophile to lure a kid. Since I've played Call of Duty, I've heard little kids say all kinds of fucked up things and even reference pedophiles as if they absolutely know what a pedophile is. So, where in real life can pedophiles find a dumb kid? They can't. So now what happens is people are getting punished for an imaginary thought crime because it's so unlikely that such a crime could happen for real. I would love to see what Justin Payne and that Anxiety War guy would do if their brains were rewired to make them pedophiles. It would be funny if they could ingest some kind of drug that turned them into pedophiles. They go after a 21-year-old guy who thinks he will be meeting a 14-year-old girlfriend. People will say things like, a 14-year-old can't consent, but think about it. Let's take my fictional character, 15-year-old James Grider. He is so willful that it pissed him off that society says he can't consent to things. When he told his parents he didn't consent to being born, when he told his parents he didn't consent to being born and therefore is entitled to a free gaming console for being born into this cruel world against his will, the parents got mad at him for being a smartass. See the double standard here? James tried to be a smartass again at a funeral of a fallen soldier when he was 11 years old. He asked the grieving family, "Why don't you have sex and make another son to replace the one you lost?" This isn't because he was dumb for being a kid. He knew it will piss people off, and if he asked that, and he wanted to get back at them because he had to be dragged to this boring funeral by his parents. For that, the soldier's brother punched him, and then his dad spanked the shit out of James for being so disrespectful. One time when James demanded to be allowed on the internet at the age of 12, his parents were reluctant about it. His mother mentioned that he might fall prey to pedophiles online. James Grider got so pissed that at the age of 12 he raced out the door into the neighborhood and started screaming at the top of his lungs for pedophiles to rape him. He wanted pedophiles to rape him to punish his parents for not giving him internet. He grabbed at a coat of some old man passing by and started saying, "Mister, are you a pedophile? Rape me so that my bitch mother and father weep about it." What if James Grider hears that a 24-year-old hot Latina PE teacher has given sex and blowjobs to some high school students, but it's unconfirmed? James Grider is 15. James Grider decides to seduce the teacher. The only reason he does it is because he is pissed off that he's being told that he can't consent to sex with an adult. James Grider has killed 2 innocent people because of discrimination for being underage. He wanted to spend a night at an inn while on the run as a fugitive, but realized that no inn will give him a room because he is under 18, so he was forced to seek alternative means of shelter, which meant killing people. So what James Grider wants to do is have sex with the teacher just to prove to the world that he can consent. Now the teacher will have had a tough life with a religious adoptive mother who sent her to an all-girls school, so she never got to date in high school. Also, the teacher's brain is wired so where she just wants to be a high school girl forever and recreate what she missed out on in high school by becoming a teacher and having sex with high school boys. Because of screwed up genetics, her psychological development halts at a certain age, and then it's like she just stays being attracted to people of a certain age while she's growing older herself. That's what happens to pedophiles. Their sexual development halts at a certain age. It could be at 16 or 13 or 11 or 8 or whatever. I don't mean physically, they still go through puberty, but it's like an 11-year-old boy would be attracted to an 11-year-old girl. Then as they get progressively older, then a 15-year-old boy is attracted to a 15-year-old girl. Then when he's 20, he's attracted to 20-year-olds. Well, there's probably something in the brain that regulates this progression, but if you're born with that part of your brain damaged, you'll be screwed. It will get stuck, and you'll be trapped in this situation where you're aging, but you're still attracted to whatever age people you were attracted to when that mechanism broke down. So take my example from before. So if you're an 11-year-old boy and you're attracted to an 11-year-old girl, everything is fine. If you're a 13-year-old but you continue to be attracted to an 11-year-old girl, okay, it's still fine. But then you just keep getting older and older. But that mechanism in your brain that should progressively leave you attracted to people your own age does not progress. It's just stuck in that 11-year-old boy mode, even though the rest of you is not 11 years old anymore. It would suck to be born like that. It would suck to be born with that. What would Justin Payne do if he was born with that? Or maybe he was born with that. Justin Payne hates pedos. Well, I remember when I started developing vitiligo, which I artificially inflicted on myself unintentionally, I resented myself so much for it that I imagined if I ever meet a person with vitiligo, I'm gonna let them know how gross they look, while of course hiding the fact that I have vitiligo too. That's food for thought there. So what do you do with James Grider? Parents try to protect him from pedophiles. He starts looking to get raped by pedophiles on purpose to hurt his parents. He wants to have sex with a hot teacher 9 years older than he, more because he's forbidden to than for any other reason, because otherwise he doesn't seem too interested in relationships. He's depressed and preoccupied with political shit too much. So he only wants to have sex with that teacher more because it will be a political statement than anything else. Also, James Grider is pissed off at little squeakers who whine about having been molested. He told little molested squeakers that they only suffered for a few minutes. A pedophile in jail, however, is suffering for decades every minute. James explained to them how personally he'd prefer to get raped over going to jail. He also said to the raped squeakers to stop feeling sorry for themselves. All they did was experience something gross that's really no different than falling into a box filled with earthworms or something, which is something that's been done on game shows before. It's not like they're living with vitiligo, like some people are, which is much worse. He also explained to the squeakers how one of them could also have that defect in the brain that will cause them to become pedophiles when they grow up. Then what? Another way that nature and modern life are at fault in this is adults should all look like teenagers forever. We shouldn't make facial expressions so our faces are smooth. Also, modern life doesn't let us rest and sleep as much as we want or need. If we didn't have to work, if we only ate food that's found in nature and exercised while trying to catch this food, if we just lay down and slept and rested whenever we wish, we would all look as young and smooth-faced as teenagers forever. So it only seems gross if a 21-year-old guy is having sex with a 14-year-old is because he looks older than her because of shitty life. Well, he wouldn't look older if he didn't drink or smoke and slept as much as he needs. Then he'd still look like a 15-year-old boy and it would be okay. Intent to commit a crime should not be punishable by law. News break for the government. Everyone wants to commit a crime because everyone hates you and your fucking laws, so put everyone in jail then. Why can't the pedophiles who get caught by anxiety war or just in pain simply say to them, "Oh, I guessed it was you guys pretending to be little boys and girls. I only came out here to check if my hunch was correct." I mean, what if they're not pedos and that's all they wanted to do? Just to troll Justin Payne in return. This is why laws have to be passed, that digital trails can't be used as evidence. Child pornography laws don't help protect children. Here is my evidence to back it up. When I was 17 and I heard it was illegal for me to take a naked picture of myself because that's child porn, it really made me want to take a naked picture of myself. Same thing for James Grider. When I heard it was illegal for adults to give me pornographic material, I really wanted for adults to hand me pornographic material. Not because I cared for it, but because I wanted to defy the law, to feel in control of my life. I heard that before the internet, attractive young teenagers would take Polaroids of themselves naked, then go around looking for people in public places interested in buying some of them. I would have loved to do that. Imagine making some easy cash for doing nothing at all, just taking a naked picture of myself jerking off at 16. I'm so lazy, and I would consider working a regular job much more abusive and psychologically damaging. I really do. That's why I don't want to work. So if I could print up some naked pictures of myself in the 1980s and sell them at the boardwalk in Venice Beach, it would be awesome. Except my body is so scrawny and ugly and I have vitiligo that I don't think anyone would pay for it. And internet destroyed that market anyway in the mid-90s. Who will pay a kid for naked pictures in the real world when all you have to do is use a search engine and you'll find that stuff for free? So yeah, pointing a camera at myself while naked, people would consider that abuse. I'm being abused and need to be saved. But if I had to get up and lose sleep because I have to be up before dawn, mowing lawns, to make money that way instead, now that's totally okay with everyone. Don't hurt the poor pedophile. Give the poor pedophile a hug. Imagine all of Anxiety Wars and Justin Payne's videos like pieces of paper drifting down, like pieces of paper with the YouTube screen window printed on them. All of them drifting down in a series of switchback glides while on fire, each slowly burning up.